I'll never forget the day I stepped into Andrássy University, Budapest, full of dreams and expectations. I thought I was getting a world-class education, but little did I know it was all just a facade. The grandiose building, a mere disguise for the incompetence that lay within. As I began my journey, I was struck by the administration's ineptitude. Rules changed constantly, and communication was as clear as mud. It was like they were making it up as they went along, leaving us students bewildered and frustrated. I felt like I was trapped in a never-ending nightmare, with no escape from the bureaucratic labyrinth. The professors, oh the professors. They seemed more interested in hearing themselves talk than actually teaching us. Lectures felt like monotone monologues, devoid of any passion or enthusiasm. Discussion was discouraged, and questions were met with disdain. It was as if they were trying to stifle our curiosity, to squash our desire to learn. I felt like I was just a mere spectator, watching a poorly scripted play. And don't even get me started on the facilities. Outdated and decrepit, they seemed to belong to a bygone era. The location, touted as a highlight, was merely a consolation prize for the lack of resources. It was like they were trying to distract us from the fact that we were getting a subpar education. But what really took the cake was the student support. Non-existent. When I had issues, I was met with indifference, my concerns dismissed with a wave of the hand. It was like I was just a nuisance, a bother to their already overwhelmed staff. I felt like I was screaming into a void, with no one to hear my cries for help. And then there was the grading system. Opaque and arbitrary, it seemed designed to confuse and intimidate. My work was never fairly assessed, and I was left wondering if I was even worthy of passing. It was like they were playing a cruel game of cat and mouse, always keeping me on edge. The career services, a joke. No help with internships, no guidance on job placement. It was like they expected us to magically find our way in the world, without any support or direction. I felt like I was adrift, lost in a sea of uncertainty. But what really broke my heart was when I realized my degree wasn't recognized by many employers. I had to take additional courses, just to validate my education. It was like I was paying for a worthless piece of paper, a mere ornament on my wall. As I look back, I realize I made a grave mistake. I should have done my research, should have listened to the whispers of warning. But I was too blinded by the promise of a prestigious education. Now I am left with a deep sense of regret, a longing for what could have been. I am looking into crimes near Andrássy University, Budapest, and I feel sad about what I found. Businesses near Andrássy University, Budapest are often small souvenir shops that look charming but some hide dishonest tricks. One shop near the main tram stop offered a quick currency exchange for tourists. A visitor handed over a large amount of forint and was given euro notes that felt odd. Later, the tourist discovered the notes were counterfeit and could not be used at any bank. The victim probably tried to report the loss to the police and felt embarrassed to admit being tricked. It likely caused the visitor to lose the money and maybe cancel the rest of the trip. The scammer probably fled the city or closed the shop before the police could act, leaving the storefront empty. Businesses near Andrássy University, Budapest are also clothing boutiques that pretend to sell designer items at low prices. A tourist bought a dress that was advertised as a brand name piece, paid the price on the cash register, and later received a receipt that added extra service fees that were never explained. When the shopper asked for a refund, the staff refused and said the policy did not allow returns. The victim probably left the boutique angry, filed a complaint with Consumer Protection, and spent extra time trying to get the money back. This likely made the visitor feel unsafe and maybe avoid other shops in the area. The shop owner might have been warned by authorities and could face a fine or even be forced to close. Businesses near Andrássy University, Budapest are sometimes pharmacies that sell medication that looks real but is actually counterfeit. A tourist bought a pain reliever for a headache, took the pills and felt worse, ending up in a hospital. The patient probably informed the hotel receptionist, who called the police and the health inspector. The outcome may be that the visitor suffers a health setback and the pharmacy is investigated, possibly shut down and the owner arrested. This kind of fraud makes short visits feel risky and leaves a bitter memory for the traveller.
Businesses near Andrássy University, Budapest are frankly a disappointment. This area, while academically distinguished, is surrounded by establishments that consistently fail to meet basic expectations. The pattern is clear: poor service, questionable hygiene, inflated prices, and an alarming lack of professionalism. Whether it is shopping, dining, or nightlife, the businesses here share a common theme: they seem designed to frustrate rather than serve. Let us begin with Ali Mall, a shopping center that should be a convenient retreat for students and visitors. Instead, it is a masterclass in poor management. Visitors frequently encounter absurd parking fees, with some reporting charges for just 5 minutes of parking. The restroom situation is a recurring nightmare. Cleaning staff aggressively block access, shouting at patrons to use facilities on other floors. One reviewer described it as a military operation rather than customer service. Even the cinema exit is poorly marked, leaving moviegoers wandering through a parking lot maze just to leave. The mall's EV chargers, completely dysfunctional, requiring unnecessary registration steps that baffle even tech-savvy users. Then there is Bam Bam Maha Burger Bara, a place where the only consistent element is disappointment. The kitchen appears to operate on whims rather than recipes. Burgers arrive either empty or drowning in sauce, as if the cooks are conducting culinary experiments rather than preparing meals. Service is another issue. Staff barely speak English, leading to frequent order mix-ups, and when mistakes happen, they are met with blank stares rather than apologies. One visitor described how they were screamed at for requesting a takeaway bag, an offense that should not be punishable by hostility. Worse yet, some customers report stomach issues after eating here, raising serious questions about food handling. Flow Specialty Coffee Bar Bistro presents itself as a specialty cafe, but the experience is anything but special. The staff seem allergic to human interaction, preferring QR code ordering that frequently malfunctions, leaving customers abandoned mid-transaction. The coffee is decent, but the lack of transparency about beans and brewing methods defeats the purpose of a specialty label. One disturbing report even mentioned a chef petting a dog in the kitchen before handling food, a sanitation violation that should horrify any health inspector. The attitude of the baristas is another problem. One reviewer was served the wrong milk in their coffee, and when they pointed it out, they were made to feel like the problem rather than the customer. Peaches and Cream Club is perhaps the most egregious offender in this area. Marketed as an RB venue, it plays everything but, leaving visitors deceived and irritated. Foreigners report blatant price discrimination, with higher entry fees simply for not being local. The club's cleanliness is questionable at best. Broken glass covers the floor and restrooms are filthy. Reservations are a scam, cancel and they still charge you. Security is indifferent to harassment, laughing off serious complaints. One guest paid for VIP treatment, only to have a stranger occupy their table while staff did.